Hey everybody, it's time for another episode of Steven Inks, another episode of Fake Pen Summer, and I got a doozy for you today. This was not in my original video because I wasn't sure if it was ever going to arrive, but I got this pen and it looks like a Lamy Safari, but hold up, the surprises have not ended yet. When I take the cap off, it's a brush pen. Craziness. Okay, so this is a very odd little pen, and I don't know who makes it. It's not branded anywhere, but we are going to see how it works, and we're going to check that out right now. So the pen finally arrived. Here it is. It's kind of cool because, okay, it looks like a Lamy. Looks exactly like a Lamy, and in case you're wondering, I do have my Lamy Safari right here to show you. Yep, pretty much. I like the texture of the Lamy plastic a little bit more, but I know that Lamy also has that kind of slick textured plastic like this too, so it might be very similar to that, but it feels lighter. But the thing that makes this kind of cool is that when you take the cap off, you get this really unexpected surprise. It's a brush pen. Whoa, that's weird, right? This is not single color. This is definitely a painted color because you can see the inside of it is even cheaper looking. But that's fun. A brush pen that's a Lamy, that's fun. That's something that Lamy probably will never do. So anyway, I kind of enjoy this pen in its quirkiness. Probably these bristles are not going to be as good as some other pens. I am currently working on a brush pen video that's going to talk about brush pens and how to get the best use out of them. I haven't quite finished it yet, so we'll have to wait for that. But I'll give you some tips and pointers for this one. We're going to use this, and then yeah, there's a Lamy looking converter here, which is fine. It's a okay looking converter. It'll probably work. There's the nib and the section, which are kind of fused in there. I don't think I can get that out, and I'm not going to mess with it because I don't want to break it. But yeah, that's the pen. Looking at the two side by side, the Lamy and whatever this is, I noticed the things I said about the plastic, that it feels lighter, and this wire feels thinner, but it also feels like it'll work. Finial on top, different from the Safari, which has an X shape, and there's different shapes based on the type of pen that it is, because they make Safari in rollerball, ballpoint. I think there's one that's a mechanical pencil too. Anyway, but they don't make a brush pen, and now I have a brush pen. I'm actually curious because I've got these both here. I wonder if I could screw the end or body of this onto. This would be a true test of if they totally just copied Lamy. Oh, no, it doesn't go. Okay. All right. I see you. Company that does not brand their pens and trying not to get caught. Anyway, nope, it does not fit well. So this is I've proven it. It's not a knockoff because the cap doesn't go on. No, we're going to have a look at this pen though and see what it does. I'm going to try a little something because this pen has sort of a small area. This is where the ink would go in because there's no breather hole over on the edge here. So I would think that I can just put the ink into the edge here, and these Colorverse mini collection bottles, I love them. They're adorable. They're little tiny things. You have to basically use a blunt needle syringe to get ink inside of a pen, but I'm kind of wondering if this pen will be able to draw ink up, and so we're going to test that right now because the bristles are where it comes from. So Somnium is a color I have not used much. I felt when I first tried it that it was too light for my taste. So I'm wondering if in brush pen form, let's see if this works, if it would be nicer in brush pen form when it doesn't work. Okay, so we're gonna use the method I just described, which is the blunt needle syringe method. And what I do there is I'm going to drop the needle into the ink, draw up how much I need, which is usually not very much, and then I take the syringe and drop some ink in until it's pretty much full, and then waste not, want not. And I'm going to see if we can get some cool capillary action on video today. Let's see if we can do it. I'm going to place this in. All right, it is there. And if I twist just a little bit to get some ink going, I wonder if I can get it to go up and fill. It's just leaking out the side. All right, well, I'm gonna give it a moment to let that ink sink in. You can start to see it's already starting to turn a little black, and hopefully with the moisture, we're gonna see those tips on the edge form to the point of the brush, and we'll see how this thing writes compared to some other brush pens you may have had experience with. Let's check it out. All right, having given the pen a little time to soak up the ink, I want to point out that there are a few, there's one stray bristle that never really came in to its own, so there's that. This is not going to be a perfect brush pen, I'm sure of that, but it's a novelty in the fact that it, you know, looks very much like a Lamy Safari, and they don't make brush pens, so there we go. Let's start with, and this is a brush pen, so let's start with some thick to thin lines. Okay, you get that dry brush effect. It doesn't really, so the feed is a little bit slow. So it doesn't really keep up very well. You run over it a few times and you start to get that. Okay, there's no forward and reverse here, but yeah, this is definitely more of a conversation piece than a really good brush pen. I'm gonna struggle a little bit to create some art with this, but I know that I can. It's just gonna take me more work than I normally have to. The fun thing about brush pens is, and I'm gonna do these, my brush pen skills are not, they're a little rusty, so bear with me. I am not a professional at this. Go watch some Jake Parker videos if you're sick of me. You can like us both, it's okay. So doing these brushes, there's lots of cool things about brush pens. One of them is that you can put down values really fast. And I'm gonna try and use this to my advantage, but this brush pen has a pretty slow ink feed, so getting that dry brush, if you see, when you hear that term dry brush, we're talking about this little area where all the speckled whites, you get that. And if I put a really light, I can do some light values and really quickly fill up the page with what I want it to look like. Again, this is really not easy to work with. If you want a recommendation for a good brush pen, I do not recommend this particular pen. I'm not putting links to these pens in my video because I'm going to recommend that you purchase the original over the copy. And as the Lamy Safari is not a brush pen, I could recommend a couple of really good brush pens for you, like the brush pens by Kuretake, which are very well loved in the brush pen community, as well as the Pentel Pocket brush pen, which is another well-known one. Trying to think if there are other ones that I know of. Those are the two brands I know. And this brush just dried completely out. I'm gonna check and see if there's any ink in it still. There's so much ink, and so there's probably a feed issue. As soon as I turned that, it just soaked up with ink. So, all right, this has a very inconsistent flow. Creating art with it is going to be a massive challenge, and yeah, it should be like this. This is what I want to see happening. And that's what's fun about brush pens, is you can just put in a big swath of ink and put a big flat shadow there. It's already drying out again. Wow, yeah, this is not ideal. So, summer art advice: don't buy this pen. This will take a long time, and I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna make you watch me write this out with this really dry, barely functioning brush pen. Summer art advice. Again, advice for all seasons: don't buy this pen. I regret it, even though it was cheap. Summer art advice. And I'm going to keep this short. Try something new. Try something you don't normally try. Try a different type of art. Try meeting with some people. Try showing your sketchbook to someone if you never do that. Try putting your art out there. Enter a contest if it's a legitimately good contest that's not taking advantage of you. Start using some different hashtags on Instagram, whatever. Just try something that you haven't tried before. See if it works out for you. And speaking of things that probably won't work out for me, I'm going to spend some time trying to make this pen do art stuff. Let's go. I actually didn't end up making it all the way through this drawing sample. I intentionally chose something simple so that I wouldn't end up spending a lot of time with this pen, because I could already tell just from using it that it was really bad. But I thought I'd do something, bring back an old character, my sad astronaut wading through the ocean, a classic sunset picture. I gotta say, the picture didn't turn out so bad once I started using the pen. I had to prime the ink a lot. It just kept running out, even though there was plenty of ink in the pen. It just kept not making it all the way to the tip of the brush. So it was very frustrating. It's a very not useful pen, and there's just a lot of other better brush pens out there. It's nothing like the quality you get from a Lamy. I didn't necessarily expect it to be, but I thought it might at least be a usable pen. And in my experience that I've had with this pen right now, it's really not usable at all. I know with this sped up version, it can seem like it went a lot better than it did, but it's really bad. It's been too much going on to try and make it work. I think honestly, And you can see in the like off the camera a little bit that I'm priming it, and every time I prime it, it comes back and it looks really nice, the lines that I'm getting. That's what I should be getting consistently, but it's not giving me that. It's a very inconsistent pen, and an inconsistent pen is very frustrating to use. Personally, I think I could have taken this drawing a little bit further and done more with it if it weren't for the limitations of the pen. There we go, I'm priming it again, and I'm just basically trying to pour ink out on it now. So yeah, didn't go well. Not a good pen at all. This pen sucks. Look what it did to my fingers. Ugh. Final thoughts. This is the worst thing I have ever reviewed on this channel. I'm gonna say thing, I'm not gonna say pen. I have a worst pen for this series, but this is not a pen. This is a stick that needs a shave. It doesn't work at all. I don't know what I could do to make it work better. It's basically just a brush you could dip into a bottle of ink, and I miss the ink that I wasted into this pen. Colorverse is a surprisingly expensive brand, and you drank all of my Colorverse ink and spit it out. But you didn't spit it out. It doesn't even work. The pen does not do what it's supposed to do. It's not a pen. It is a landfill heap. So stay away from anything like this. And I guess it's a rule of thumb that if the company won't even brand the pen with their name, something's probably off. Lesson learned, it was a very inexpensive pen. And I haven't had a lot of luck with pens in that price range. I think it was about $2 or $3 US dollars. So not a lot of currency wasted, but I do feel bad for the waste of resources and materials that went into this pen, and also, like I said, my ink that just deserved better. So stay away from that, but don't stay away from this channel. Please like and subscribe for more like it. We are going to be hitting you with some more fake pen summer videos coming up in the next week. I will see you then. All right, so I have a specific place where pens like this go. It's a special pen case. I'm going to take you there. So check this out. We're going right now. Da-dum, 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 and there you go. That's where all my special pens go.